2007 saw Power Pros 14 released for the PlayStation 2 in July. After making some changes in 13 that fans were disappointed with, the team aimed to correct these issues in this game. In doing so, they also created new issues, causing the game to please some fans and anger others. The catcher's window is still off by default, but it can be switched back on if needed. Pitching speeds are much faster than 13, making them closer to the MLB Power Pro speeds. Unlike MLB Power Pros, the sharpness of breaking balls is much higher too, so pitchers have a lot more of an advantage. As a way to compensate this for hitters, a target system was introduced. In previous games like the Pocket series, if you had the PCI stay in position before hitting, it would change colour, allowing you to hit further. In 14, however, you have to track the ball in flight to get this bonus. As ball speeds and sharpness are much higher, this addition makes it harder to utilise. If you don't track the ball early, especially fastballs, it's rare to get the benefit. Hitting the ball dead centre though, regardless of the tracking system, results in powerful hits, so it's almost like a pointless addition. The CPU pitching and batting also seems to have been upgraded for better or worse. Pitchers will paint the corners regularly while hitters will make contact easily, but batters tend to have a zone they aren't comfortable with, which can be exploited. Most of the same modes from 13 are present here. My Life removed the player manager option and added a retiring player option instead. During an interview in the official Power Pros 14 guide, the developers state that they are inspired by Tsuyoshi Shinjo. He announced his retirement in 2006 while playing for the Hokkaido Nippon Ham Fighters. At the time they were 5th in the Pacific League, but managed to gain an overwhelming amount of momentum to end up winning the Japan series. The developers wanted to recreate that for this game, having players play one final season in an attempt at glory. Aside from the change in modes, players can now add more dojos to gain even more abilities. Winning the Japan series will also allow you to compete in the Asian Cup once the season is concluded. The biggest changes can be found in success. While each game since 3 followed the same base formula with a few twists, 14 established 2 different ways to create and train players. For those looking for the standard experience, they can select Star Road. Taking place after 10 but not connected to 11 or 12, a new league has been created where you play for the Vulcans. A playthrough lasts just over a year and has you compete against other teams in the league, MPB teams, and the opportunity to play in an all-star game. This shortened timeframe once again speeds up creating players, but combined with the adjustments to gameplay, it ends up being harder than previous games. The developers acknowledged this in the interview, saying their intention wasn't to make this mode difficult, but closer to real-life baseball. Even though a playthrough has less turns to choose actions, there are some new options to select from. Friendship Tag Training returns, offering increased gains when training with partners. The new options using the Stardom system use players who can be Friendship Tag Training partners and allows for a range of exclusive commands. You can only have up to 2 players activate their Stardom system abilities. Ranging from modifying equipment, improving resting, and increasing training equipment levels, there are 12 different commands to unlock. Using these can greatly increase your chances of creating a strong player, as the matches themselves can be quite tough. Players can also be added to the team during the season when you beat other teams, helping to strengthen yours. Should the team place 3rd or higher by the end of the season, you'll take part in the playoffs and then the championship series. With the changes made to the gameplay, the overall difficulty in making a strong player relies on winning matches and using Friendship Tag Training. You acquire quite a lot of points through training, but the increased extra points from winning a game and playing well rapidly help increase your abilities. But the difficulty in gameplay shift to hitting can make creating strong fielders harder than pitchers. The other new way to play success is Icon 9. Much like the Koshin DS games before, here you play as a coach helping to develop a high school team and instructing them during games. Whereas in the DS games training is selected like other success modes, here a card system is used. The month is split into individual blocks and different cards will move forward into the month depending on the number at the top. At the beginning of each month you can decide how each player, position groups, or the whole team trains. This allows you to focus player training and increase areas they're excelling or poor at. The month grid will often have positive and negative blocks on it. Landing on these will either have good or bad events play out, which can help or hinder progress. A yellow block offers increased gains from training, which can help quickly gain experience. There are also multiple NPCs that will appear, from scouts who can get you new players to shop vendors for gaining and purchasing items and more. As the year progresses, eventually you can take part in the summer and spring tournaments. Doing well in these will help raise the school's reputation, allowing for more players to join each year or the scout finding better players. Games are played using the expanded command system as seen in the DS games. Like the cards for training, each command during a game has a number at the top. The higher the number, the more reliable that player is at actioning that command. As you can only issue commands, it's quite tough early on when the team level is low. Without being in direct control, it can be frustrating to watch your team blow games or make errors. Pitchers are prone to losing stamina quickly, resulting in a lot of walks and giving up runs easily. Players can also swap out during a game without your permission, which can be annoying when you don't have many members. Even with low-level teams, the AI can be abused quite easily with safety bunting and stealing bases. This can help gain the team wins early on, even leading to tournament wins, which all leads to a better reputation. But things can just as easily go south even with a commanding lead. As this is based on high school baseball, players will leave once they finish their third year and graduate. New players will join shortly after the start of the new year, so there is a constant turnover of players to train. Players who get drafted can be registered and used in other modes, which adds a unique replay factor. There's no definitive end to this mode, so players can play and develop their high school for as long as they wish. Aiming to win tournaments and make the strongest players is an endless cycle which is very enjoyable. It does take some time, dedication and luck to get the team into a good environment, but it can be a far more rewarding experience compared to Star Road. Much like 13, 14 is a polarizing game. On one hand, the changes to the gameplay seem to have been made for veterans wanting more of a challenge. This can be seen as a direct response to 13, where the developers aim to make the game more inclusive, resulting in a more beginner-friendly experience. The split at success mode, especially Star Road, is also a mixed bag. With there only being one scenario to play through, there isn't much variety as seen in previous versions. Icon 9 though is fun and offers the most amount of replayability, but it isn't for everyone, especially for those who want control of the action directly. The Wii, which was released in 2006, had its own version of 14, also released in July 2007, titled Power Pro Wii. It shares all the same modes as the PS2 version while offering some extras. The game can be played in a 16:9 ratio, which looks good in some places, but has the drawback of distorting some of the overlays and images. While the game can be installed on a PlayStation 2 hard drive to speed up load times, the Wii version doesn't have the ability to, but the speeds are already comparable. The biggest addition, and one that nearly all Wii games tried to include, was motion controls. There's an exclusive mode called Remote Power that allows up to 2 players to either take part in a game or a home run derby. Here you swing the Wiimote to hit and pitch and waggle it to play defense or run. Hitting feels like playing Wii Sports, though you can also bunt here. You can still select pitches with the D-pad and choose to locate them inside or outside using the plus and minus buttons. You can also play using created Mii characters rather than MPB teams. Here the stats of the Miis are randomly determined. A fun addition to the game that can offer a unique way to play with friends, but due to the ease of hitting, it can get boring quite quickly. Both the PS2 and Wii saw definitive versions get released in December as Power Pro's 14 Ketiban and Wii Ketiban. There are the usual roster updates along with gameplay balances that were taken into account from fan opinions. In the official 14 definitive guide, game director Hideki Nagahama talks about how fans were displeased with the pitching speeds. He comments that they toned down the perceived ball speed and sharpness of curveballs. They also tweaked the computer's defensive plays, which received criticism when playing Icon 9. Because of these changes, both Star Road and Icon 9 are easier than the original versions, which helps relieve player fatigue. Even with making all these gameplay tweaks, the team still managed to add in a third mode for success called Dream Japan. Taking control of Team Japan, you select a squad from all available players from each MPB team, with the option of adding in a career player should you wish to. You play through a tournament with the aim of clinching the championship. You can set the team's or individual players' training routines, which is easier to do thanks to the icons and arrows showing you which stat will be increased. There are also special training options that can be given to a limited number of players before games. Here you have the opportunity of teaching them new abilities, setting trials for them to accomplish, or even taking them out for meals. You play full 9 inning games, so unlike Star Road and Icon 9, it can take some time to play through each one. The mode is a great balance between Star Road's action baseball and Icon 9's player development. Like most definitive editions, the update makes this the better version to play, unless you're after a higher challenge that the original can offer. April saw the next PSP game release with Power Pro Portable 2. While the gameplay remains as good as the previous version with updated rosters and a few upgrades, there is still a distinct lack of modes compared to the mainline versions. In a staff interview in the official Power Pro's Portable 2 guide, the developers discussed why they wanted to make the Portable series different than the main series. Director Shiro Murata explains that they wanted to do things different and that were unique to the PSP. There are 2 big inclusions this time. One is centered around the collecting of 800 different cards called Potaka. These range from characters from the series to real-life players for teams. Cards can be earned in different quantities by playing most modes. They can also be used in the upgraded version of Power Gacha. The other inclusion is the ability to not only share the game with other players to play, but to collect Potaka using Tsunageta. By switching on the wireless LAN option on the console, new cards can be obtained by being near different wireless access points. The system operates in a similar fashion to the 3DS using the Street Pass. Alongside the normal gacha machine to create players, there are two new options, the Combo and Skull Gacha. Combo gives you less slots, but by lining up capsules or similar stats, you'll get an increased benefit. Skull uses up Potaka cards with a skull icon on them, but can create incredibly strong players. The downside is that if you pull a skull bomb, then you lose everything, so it's a high risk reward system. There's also a new mode to play called a la carte mode. Like scenario mode from the previous versions, here the game will randomly generate an endless list of challenges. As you progress, the challenges will steadily get more difficult. Completing them will rank you up, with the maximum level being 99,999,999. Much like the first game, what is here is great and offers a lot for a portable experience, especially if played in short bursts. The lack of modes might put off players looking for a full experience, but the inclusion of Sunageta and different ways to create players in Power Gacha offer unique ways to play that only the PSP offered. In October, Powerful Major League 2 was released for both the PS2 and the Wii, but in a surprise move, the game was also released in America by 2K as MLB Power Pros. Retaining all the content of the original version while adding a few extras, players outside of Japan finally had an English version they could purchase. The response to the first game was that a lot more younger fans played it, so the developers doubled down and made this entry a lot more lenient. You can now select between 5 levels of lock-on for hitting, making the game more accessible. The spin of the ball is also now visible, making recognizing different pitches possible, but hard to determine between similar types. At the highest level, you don't even need to move the PCI for lock-on, so younger or less experienced players are still able to get hits. Pitching includes an expert option where you time the release of your pitch with another button press. With proper timing, you can throw better and more controlled pitches, with the opposite being true if timed wrong. The shop returns where you can purchase cards, stadiums, and other items with points, again being gained from partaking in most modes. Should you feel a player's stats and abilities aren't correct, you can also edit them, something not possible in the Japanese version. Season mode allows you to become the GM for one of 30 MLB teams, or use a custom expansion team for up to 10. Like an arranged team, you can customize everything from the name to the uniforms. You also get the choice of playing with the rosters as normal or conduct a dream draft where you can select between every available player. You have total control over all aspects of the team, from practice and lineups to trades and contract renewals. The list of options for how to tweak this mode to your liking makes it very versatile for fans of management sims. Games can be played normally, or you can fast forward through the season to just see the results. Regular events like drafts, playoffs, and free agent signings will take place during the year too. At the end of the year, the team's total spend and income will be calculated. Should a team be in the red, then it will lead to an automatic game over. It's a great addition for those looking to get very in-depth with all aspects of running a team. Success mode has you play through college baseball for 3 years for the Tulips. As always, the aim is to improve your player so you can get scouted by a major league team. Along with the normal training and resting, there are other commands like studying to make sure you don't fail tests, working to earn money, and going on dates. You can also use the new Hyper Recovery when available to not only gain back stamina but increase stats too. This was included as the developers found a scientific study about muscle development and wanted to incorporate that idea into the game. The amount of dialogue and events that happen might seem quite high compared to previous games, but they all make use of the new fate card system. Rather than having simple options like yes or no when faced with questions or opportunities, you now have to choose from 4 cards. The cards are randomly selected and used up when making choices, which will then draw a new card. The system allows for a wide range of different playthroughs, as you won't always have the right card you need when making decisions. You spend a lot more time training than playing games, with there usually only being 1 or 2 games during the first few years. The story can also shift between 3 different routes depending on choices you make during those years. Combined with the card system, there is a lot to experience here, even if there is only 1 team to play as. The mode itself is quite hard to develop strong players compared to other versions. The developers even acknowledged this in the interview, stating that it wouldn't make sense for a college player to be at the same level as the pros before hitting the majors. You gain a significant amount of experience from playing and winning games, far more than training. But as opportunities to play games are lower, it makes them that much more important. Items are also far more useful and offer a ton of benefits, some of which are almost required if you want to create a strong player. The shop only appears randomly, as does the list of items for sale. It often means that what you want may or may not be for sale when you need it, and vice versa when you don't have enough money. Balancing money, training and resting becomes a delicate act of maintaining each while dealing with all the events that may hinder or help you due to the fate cards. Winning the championship at the end of the third year also allows you to take part in the game's toughest challenge. For a final game of the mode, you'll compete against an all-star team of MLB players. Compared to the teams you face throughout Success Mode, the difficulty is heavily ramped up. Consisting of players like Ichiro, Albert Pujols and Manny Ramirez, the lineup is stacked against you. While not impossible, it's a large barrier to overcome at the end of the playthrough. Even taking all the negative aspects into consideration, to finally have the ability to play this mode in English is a treat for long-time overseas fans. The same can be said about the whole game in general. For all of its faults and changes it made from the previous versions, international fans were happy to have the series finally in their hands, without having to import it or learn another language. Japanese fans, however, did not share the same sentiments. Extra options in the American version not available to them, issues with Success Mode when attempting to make strong players, and the focus being more on Season Mode left a lot of fans annoyed with this entry. Reviews at the time praised the gameplay and content, giving it average to high scores, with the main issue being the look of the game. Compared to other baseball games released that year, it was seen as a worthy contender as the best game should people look past its visual style. The final game for the year was Power Pro Pocket 10 for the DS in December. The gameplay is now in full 3D and feels a lot closer to the other versions, even with the digital controls still being in place. Card Baseball is also available again if a player wishes to use it. Wi-Fi modes have been added for online play alongside game sharing for local games with the need for only one cartridge. The main story goes back to a grounded world of being a high schooler living in a dorm aiming to compete in Koshin. While not as zany as some of the previous iterations, the story does a good job at portraying that baseball environment. It does come with some drawbacks, however. Starting as a first year, you'll need to raise not only your stats but evaluation with your team and coach. This can be done through training or by buying items using points gained from working and events. Due to the hierarchical nature of the team, the seniors will often mistreat you and demand earnings costing you points and energy. It makes the first year tough to play through, not only from a gameplay view but motivation too, as everything you do always seems to be in vain. This changes by the time these pest characters graduate in the second year and the game becomes a lot more fun. There aren't many games to take part in, so doing well matters a lot. Raising the manager's evaluation will allow you better training practices, so it's vital to do this early on to make as much use as possible when they are available. There are 2 new systems added in, which can determine massive growth, but also a way of failing a playthrough. Baseball Spirit is accumulated from practicing and doing well in games. Should the gauge ever go to 0, it's an instant game over. Baseball Sense is gained the same way along with certain events and can be used in a separate level up menu. Here you can exchange points gained for immediate levels for stats like power, running and more. The points needed get much higher as the levels go up, so it's often best to use them near the end of a playthrough where you hopefully have amassed a lot. There's also new mini-games that make appearances throughout, including a Mahjong style card game, rock paper scissors and more. As the aim is to reach Koshin, should you lose either of the entry tournaments, it's a game over. But the game itself once you reach the second year becomes a lot more manageable. The gameplay even with the digital controls is easier too, as the level for defense isn't high with errors often taking place. The secret success this time is another dungeon crawling RPG called Battle Digger. Outfitting a tank with weapons and exploring ruins, the aim is to recover 3 special balls while dealing with monsters and traps. Managing not only the tank and character's health, you also have to worry about fuel and ammo supplies. These can be purchased from the store using money gained from exploring or by selling items found in the ruins. Another fun and different mode to play through should players get tired of the normal baseball gameplay. – 2008 was a quieter year for releases. The main series saw Power Pros 15 launch in July on both PlayStation 2 and the Wii. Taking on board the criticisms of the previous games, there are quite a few changes this time around aimed at pleasing all types of fans. Improvements found in MLB Power Pros make an appearance here, with the ball's rotation being visible and the pennant mode being upgraded. Hitting is slightly easier due to the CPU pitching not being as tuned as normal. The reverse of this is that the CPU hitting is quite easy to fool, making swing and misses a lot more approachable and reliable than before. The close-up system allows for players to get in better form as games progress, by scoring, defending and making plays during tight situations and more. It helps to add a sense of realism to games as teams start to rally behind each other with successive good outcomes. My Life unfortunately did not get the same treatment and was instead stripped of the majority of its play options. While you had multiple choices in how you wished to play through the mode previously, 15 reverted back to only original or pro players. It's a shame as the missing modes allow for a lot more variety. The new addition of soul points doesn't add much to the mode either. As you play, train and take part in events, you accumulate soul points. These can be used to unlock a wide range of different things ranging from abilities, relationships with other characters and personal items. For example, if you want to strengthen your bond with your girlfriend, you can spend points to unlock the option for her to come to games. Doing well will then reward you with increasing your bond, while also netting you a bunch more points. It's a simple system that allows you to easily focus on characters' abilities and the items that you want. Because of this, money was removed, so you're unable to buy items and equipment like before, which is the trade-off with this system. While still a perfectly serviceable mode, there's a clear sense the developers opted to focus their attention in other areas. This can be clearly seen in Success mode. Offering both the regular style Success and Icon 9 again, it's easy to see this is where the developers put their most effort into. Icon 9 took what worked from 14 Ketiban and improved on it further. Stamina for players has been added in to give the mode a greater sense of realism. There are now stamina and equipment panels that can be landed on, helping to refresh the team or gain items. Having multiple of the same cards next to each other will also cause them to combine. This will not only greatly increase their potency, but drop the spaces you'll move down to 1. This can be great as it helps vastly increase the gains from training without advancing the board too much. Up to 4 cards can combine, so lucky players who save up specific trainings can take advantage of this inclusion. Playing an instruction card will allow you to change the player's practice menu compared to waiting until the start of a new month. In tandem with those extras is an overall lower difficulty throughout. Bunting was an easily abusable strategy before, but here it's had its success rate lowered. Stealing bases on the other hand has been increased, so most of the same strategies work. Teams can be saved after the summer tournament, allowing you to keep multiple generations to use in other modes. As Icon 9 and 14 Ketiban fix a lot of the issues found in the original release, these improvements in 15 really strengthen the mode, making it one of the standout parts to play. The story for normal Success is centered around corporate baseball, and it's back to lasting 3 years. Playing and working in 1 of 3 companies, the aim once again is to get scouted and drafted by the end of your 3rd year. As this is corporate baseball, you'll not only train to improve players, but work to get promotions and earn money. You'll earn a monthly salary, which is quickly eaten up by living expenses, so improving your job role helps make those savings increase. Balancing work and training in the early stages can be tough, as focusing too much on baseball will eventually force you to do nothing but work for days on end. Getting promoted helps, but there's always a risk of demotion if you neglect your work duties for too long. Tag training has been removed in favour of rival tag training. Only accessible during specific training camps, players from rival corporations make appearances and can greatly boost experience and ability gains. There is also the Guts meter, which when full will increase the amount of experience points earned from training. You'll earn the most amount of experience points from doing well in games, so raising the evaluation of the coach and managers early on to be picked for the team is vitally important. Winning games will also give you the option to improve training facilities, so it's even more important to get into the team as quickly as possible. The gameplay side is still quite easy compared to the last few scenarios, but keeping motivation high and balancing work and training is where the real difficulty lies. This is especially true in the other 2 unlockable corporations, where you can be demoted from the team for simply striking out in a game. It strikes an odd balance for creating strong players, as normally the initial scenario is not as rewarding as the unlocked ones. Here though, it's easier to create strong players with the Power Corp due to the other 2's challenges. Even though there are still some aspects which are negative across this version, like the My Life downgrade, overall the game is a solid upgrade from the previous version. Unlike previous years, 2008 didn't see a definitive release. May saw the next installment of the PSP series with Power Pro Portable 3. This is a major upgrade to the previous 2 games and brings it in line with the main series. It includes all the previous modes along with a few updates to further enhance some of them. A la carte returns and now has a survival option which ups the difficulty and allows you to use collected protocol for benefits. The power gadget is still here if you want to create a bunch of players quickly. The big draw comes from the addition of 2 heavily requested modes. My Life and Success are finally added in, making this a true portable version of the franchise. While neither of them are unique and both play like earlier, simpler entries of the series, having these available majorly increased the popularity of the game. As a comparison, Portable 2 sold roughly 110,000 units, but 3 sold more than 3 times that amount at roughly 360,000. Along with the tweaks to gameplay, this is almost a perfect game for fans of the series who want to play on the go. MLB Power Pros 2008 released for both the PS2 and Wii in July in America. Coming out a few months before the Japanese version in October, like Portable 3, there were some noticeable improvements made. During a game, you can now set the bullpen, allowing for pitchers to warm up. You can also now see hot and cold zones before at-bats, which help identify strengths and weaknesses. The edit feature, while still not present in the Japanese version, is still here if you want to fine-tune or make adjustments to players. The option for installing to a hard drive is only present in the Japanese version. Points are still here to buy cards and other items from the shop and are earned just as easily as before. This time, My Life has been added in and plays much like other versions. Playing through a 20-year career, the mode is like Portable 3 in that there isn't anything new to be found here, but it is nice to see it included to round out the other modes available to the player. Success only has one scenario but has had many changes to its operations. Beginning on the Green Apples AA team, you aim to raise up the ranks to AAA and then to Majors. New for this version is the command gauge. Actions like training, going out, or working use up stock command points. Combined with the normal stamina gauge, there is a bit more planning involved in maximising your weeks. Choosing a practice will also deal 5 cards. They can either be good or bad, and depending on the outcome will determine the amount of points earned. Getting all good results in a lot of points, but all bad can result in injury. Selecting a practice where the coach is present will also increase the amount of points as well as your evaluation. Doing the same type of training will also slowly improve its level. The 4th week of the month will provide additional bonus points and is a great way to earn a lot in one go. Options for going out include going shopping for items with money earned from working, restaurants for regaining stamina, and other areas. By storing a full command gauge for the 4th week with good stamina, you can make far better gains than just using them up each week. It can make making strong players easier, but that's only if you do well in games. Playing in AA isn't too tough, and even with low level players it's quite easy to hit the ball well. After being promoted to AAA is where the difficulty ramps up. Former teammates will leave for other teams, and they're far above other players in the league in terms of stats and skills. While not required to get scouted for the majors, beating these teams can be quite difficult. As you want to do well in games to get the most amount of experience points, the game is quite reliant on saving and reloading often. Unlike other versions of Success, having even a tiny bit of stamina allows you to train with only a 20 to 30% injury chance, further emphasising saving often. For those looking to play the game in a pure way, there's a lot of risk and reward involved when aiming for a strong player. But those looking to create the best player, regardless of the method used, won't find these difficulty spikes a problem. Completing Success also allows you to select the skip function at the start of a game. Here you can skip past certain events which speed up player creation without missing out on too many potential stat and ability gains. To go alongside the console version, an American exclusive version was also released in August for the DS. Stripping the game of most of the popular modes, leaving a bare bones selection, it's an odd release that pales in comparison to its console counterpart or what was available on the PSP. With only exhibition games, custom playoffs, home run derbies and a team arrangement available, there isn't a lot to keep players invested. The gameplay itself is fine and plays like new versions of the Pocket series, but that doesn't do much to save it from being a shallow experience. The main game is an overall improvement over the 2007 version. Reviewers shared the same sentiments as the previous year, and most praised the inclusion of My Life, which was easier to get into than Success. Sales, however, were roughly the same as the last version. Due to this and 2K deciding they were already publishing multiple other baseball games, this would be the last version of any Power Pro game released in the West for quite some time. While neither MLB Power Pros or 2008 were going to become the de facto baseball game in the West, there are still dedicated fans that play both to this day due to the localization and gameplay. Communities have been built around these two games with strategies and discussions being shared, hoping that in the future Konami would once again localize a new game. In December, Power Pro Pocket 11 was released for the DS. After 10 was met with mixed reviews, 11 tried to fix a lot of the mistakes that were made. As the gameplay by this point on the handheld was perfected, the team looked to expand some of the modes instead. Alongside the regular Success and Secret Success was an additional mode for creating players. Called Guppy, you're given the option of either playing full games or the first to score or lead at the end of an inning. Removing all the dialogue and events found in normal Success, you can quickly create multiple players with them, often being stronger than a regular Success playthrough. Winning games increases stats, so continuously doing well can be very beneficial for players looking to create en masse. The story for Success is another wacky adventure compared to the more grounded story found in the mainline games. After joining a newly formed team, you're given a package by a senior player. Inside is a magic lamp, which summons a genie offering 3 wishes. The player wishes to get promoted for the first team in his first year, earn a salary of 50 million yen in his second year, and win the championship in his third. Rather than the genie granting these wishes, however, He curses you and makes them your targets that you must achieve to remove the curse. Failure to do so will result in your death. Due to these yearly requirements, the game puts a lot of pressure on the player to succeed. The genie will also meddle with you further, often giving you debuffs or unwanted illnesses if he's not interacted with enough to keep him happy. While not as unfair as the seniors from 10 causing you nothing but grief for the whole first year, it is something that happens throughout the whole playthrough. Doing well in games helps a lot more than training, so it's vital that you get the chance to compete in them. Baseball sense returns and is easier to obtain than before, but not all options are available to begin with. Minigames return, with there being a 3D futsal game, vertical scrolling space shooter, and more. Injury rates also seem to be higher than the percentage indicates, so you'll often want to train when it's in the single digits. It can be quite tough to maintain all these systems on top of playing well, which has left this version controversial again. For beginners to the series, they may be overwhelmed, but fans and veterans might enjoy the challenge it presents. The secret success is another RPG titled Mystery Hatter Human Edition. Aliens have brainwashed people in the city, and it's your job as middle schoolers to gain allies and fight back against them. The main screen is a 3D map of the city where you can walk around, engage in battles, or explore different locations. The game's split into 2 chapters. The first requires you to gain enough allies and either storm the main hideout or defeat the boss within 10 days. As you explore, you'll find these allies along with items and equipment that can help you further. Battles take place on a separate screen and are turn-based like other entries. They can be quite tough early on when you don't have much in the way of equipment or allies. The second chapter has you go through 100 randomly generated floors, aiming to defeat the final boss. Like most of the secret successes, it's a great diversion from the main game, and can easily take up more time than the regular success scenario. By 2009, the series as a whole had started to become repetitive for fans and reviewers. The yearly releases were either focusing too hard on being accessible for new players, alienating veterans, or pleasing long-time fans at the cost of turning away beginners. Sales for all titles had been slowing down, whether it be on home consoles or handhelds, due to these inconsistencies. Because of this, 2009 saw a shift in focus in what would come out for each platform. For the PS2 in March, Power Pro 2009 was released, the first non-numbered and final mainline title for the console. Acting less as a brand new game and essentially being the definitive edition of 15, the game didn't add much to what was already here. All the modes from 15 are present, with some minor balance adjustments made to each of them after fan feedback. Replacing the success scenario from 15, Dream Japan was added back in, but it's basically the same mode as it was found in 14. The corporate success can actually be unlocked by entering a code on the success main screen, further confirming this is the definitive edition. Aside from the roster updates and small adjustments made, all the same pros and cons remain as they did with 15. This isn't necessarily a bad thing overall, as Icon 9 still carries the game and Dream Japan is a fun scenario to play, but the lack of any real differences between this and 15 is disappointing. The Wii also had a release on the same day in March, but was very different than 15 and 2009. Power Pro Next is an exclusive title for the system and has a heavy focus on beginners and a younger audience. This can be seen in the modes, or lack of, that the game includes. Gone are Success and My Life, the 2 staples the series had been polishing for years. Instead, Hero Mode was introduced, acting as this game's success mode. Starting as a player in elementary school and playing through to high school, it's a simple story that's easy to follow. Rather than the usual daily or weekly command choices, the game is played on a path like Icon 9, but even more simplified. Cards drawn will increase different stats in varying amounts, along with moving the player along the path. Landing on special spaces like Icon 9 will grant bonuses, events, and other helpful or negative effects. While aimed at a younger crowd, there is still some strategy involved in creating strong players. Playing the same colour of card in succession will create a combo, increasing stats gained from playing them. The game is split into 3 different age groups, with you moving up to the next after reaching the end of the path and playing a game. The mode is very easy to complete and create strong players, which long-time fans found substandard. After 30 or so different success modes since Power Pro 3, it's quite a refreshing change to not have to micromanage different gauges and stats, and is well suited for younger players or those looking to have a relaxed time playing. The ball speed is often inconsistent, with there not being a great difference between fast and breaking balls, also making it easier to hit deep drives. The graphics also got a few tweaks. Players no longer have a cel-shaded look to them, making this game a first look at what could be expected in the future. The player character is also animated during Hero Mode, which gives it a unique appearance too. While ultimately made to try and target kids, the lack of modes unfortunately hurts the game more than it helps. Longtime fans mostly ignored it, and saw it as an inferior version once word of mouth about its lackluster content was revealed. It's a shame as it is a really good way to slowly get new players used to the series, so they could try out past or future releases if they enjoyed it. The final game to be released on both PlayStation 2 and Wii was Powerful Major League 2009 in April. Like the first major game, this was only released in Japan and is also the final major game in the series. As such, it comes equipped with multiple additions, making it great in some areas and poor in others. Starting with the negatives, the season mode is a shadow of its former self. While it still includes all the features seen in previous entries, increases the playable years to 20, and has faster game simming, it's broken in quite a few ways. Player evaluations are haphazardly done, resulting in widely random game results. Certain abilities like Clutch will strongly affect players depending on its level. A player with Clutch 1 or Clutch 2 will often do worse than if they didn't have it, meaning strong players can easily become useless. If they have higher versions like 4 or 5, however, they'll be nearly unstoppable. This can make some all-time records skyrocket, which can be funny but also removes the sense of realism from the mode. Your scouts also won't go out on their own after finishing instructions. If simming through a season, it means stopping every 3 or so days to reissue commands which slow down the pace. Some of these things can be alleviated, such as editing players, now that it's finally been added to the game for Japanese fans. But with 30 teams and 1,200 players, it's a time-consuming task just to make the mode function correctly like it had before. Other quirks found throughout the rest of the game are also odd. The CPU's defense is utterly stupid, not only in making plays, but ability too. Most long balls to the outfield can result in multiple extra bases, as the computer will often throw to the next base rather than going for an out. While beneficial for the player, it's almost alarming how bad they can be. Pitchers lose their stamina incredibly quickly too, even with a high rating, which along with the atrocious defense makes this more of a hitter-friendly title. Some of these issues can be excused due to the positives the game brought, but it's seldom a game in a series has such an imbalance to it. The things the game does do right though are commendable. The Yomi system for hitting is an interesting addition for those looking to challenge themselves. When using Yomi for hitting, the PCI will disappear once the pitcher starts their motion. During the wind-up, you can position where you think the ball's course will be. Successfully guessing right will result in the PCI turning orange or red depending on how close the guess was, allowing for a stronger hit. The pitch indicator will also appear quicker, allowing for fine adjustments to be made to take advantage of the correct guess. Guessing too far away from the pitch will shrink the PCI and also show the location of the pitch much later, making it harder to react to. It's a popular system that requires good reads and quick reflexes, and rewards players with more opportunities for bases. There's a lower level version that doesn't remove the PCI or pitch indicator, but still gives the same buffs or debuffs for players that want to give it a try before the real thing. You can also turn it completely off if you wish to use the normal style. World Baseball Classic has been added as a mode for those looking to take part in international competitions. Choosing between any of the available countries, it plays out just like the tournament with groups and playoffs as it progresses. While you can edit lineups, there's no growth of the players, so it's like a simple version of the Dream Japan mode found in 14 and 2009. Major Life sought inclusions from other My Life modes by adding playing as an active MLB player to the possible choices. What stands out for Major Life though is the catcher mode. In a first for the series, you're able to call pitches from behind the plate and catch them. While it's almost the same as pitching, you'll have to make the right pitch choices and work with your pitcher to get the best outcome. Pitchers will shake off pitches or locations they don't want, so learning their tendencies and raising your defensive stat is a must. It can be a little frustrating at first as you try to get them to throw what you want, only for them to pitch something you weren't expecting, but it all adds to the fun of the mode. Failing to catch balls, especially with runners on, can quickly turn a game on its head, so it also keeps players engaged in catching everything. Hobbies now show steady progress when selecting them, rather than making it seem like the same result each time they're selected, adding to the sense of growth doing them. You can use edited players too, along with simming through dates if you want to quickly get through a season. As it includes nearly everything from previous My Life modes and more, some fans claim this to be the best My Life in the series. Success was not to be outdone though. Offering 5 different scenarios each with their own gimmick, there's a lot to play through when creating players. Teams from previous major games make an appearance, as do the majority of the characters. The starting team is the Golden Apples and plays like a regular success mode, training and playing in games to be scouted in the majors. The Galaxy Sharks play like a tougher version of the Golden Apples, where not only do you need to train and play well, but impress the manager and the scout, filling their bars which can be seen in the lower corner. The Gigantes is a luck-based scenario which, for better or worse, plays like all the accident events rolled into one. You'll be afflicted with positive and negative luck which can greatly alter how you'll train. This can be adjusted or even removed by visiting the fortune teller and paying to change, so money is vital to do well, as is just plain luck. The Mon Mon monkeys just have you playing games without training or events. You start off with a bunch of points you can allocate, then go straight into a match. Win and you can go to the majors right away, or choose to stay and earn even more points. In what is possibly the shortest success scenario in the series, it's possible to mercy rule in a few innings in the initial game and get scouted. While the player stats won't be anything impressive, it's the fastest and easiest route to earn a lot of points to spend in the shop, earning you 6,000 points in one single run. Finally, the Guava Strawberries doesn't have you play any games at all. The requirements for completing this scenario is to raise the player and 3 other teammates' levels to a certain rank. When selecting practice options, you'll now have to consider areas your teammates will need to improve on too. It sort of plays like a cross between Success and Icon 9. It's also a great way of making good players and inherited items quickly, as you can earn a lot of money which can be used in other scenarios. There's enough variety here that fans can pick their preferred mode and make strong players easily, as each mode is quite short compared to other versions. Should they get tired, they can always swap to another team for a wildly different playthrough. For all the things the game does badly, Major Life and Success scenarios save what could be a disaster of a game. Even with the positive word of mouth of these two modes though, sales were poor, resulting in it being the final game in the series. From 2006 to 2009, there were a bunch of Japanese exclusive mobile games released for Japanese phones. Ranging from exhibition-style games to ones that featured smaller success stories, they were all fairly basic and closer to older Nintendo titles. July saw the first 3D game get released not only in Japan but worldwide across iPhones called Power Pros Touch. While limited to just exhibition games or playing a small season due to only including 6 teams and no MPB license, the game is pretty basic. Using touch controls as the name implies, batting, pitching and fielding is operated by swiping or touching the screen. Enjoyable for what it is, but was lacking modes and features when compared to other mobile games that were available at the time. In September, the PSP had its last entry in the Portable series with Power Pro Portable 4, as future games would drop the Portable moniker. Building on the additions from Portable 3, most of the major game modes are more fleshed out. One negative that can be seen as a positive is that the CPU is pretty stupid. Unlike a lot of games in the series, batters are prone to swinging and missing a lot, making pitching a lot easier. Batting itself isn't too difficult either, and hitting long balls can be achieved quite easily even with weaker players. My Life lets you choose 3 different options for playing through, which helps bring it in line with previous console versions. It also added in commands like the dojo, making creating strong players easier. Success features multiple scenarios taking place during college baseball during the time of characters like Mamoru Igari. It's quite refreshing to see a lot of the old generation characters along with the college setting, which hasn't been used in multiple years at this point. Compared to reusing a previous game scenario, this is its own brand new thing. There are many commands that will be familiar to veterans, so it's relatively easy to create strong players due to the frequency of games and events. It's pretty simple to complete, as once a scout takes notes of you, it's hard to drop below their evaluation. The benefit of this is that it makes this mode quite quick to complete, allowing you to create a bunch of players in a short amount of time. Any successful players can also continue into My Life, which is a nice touch. The power gacha was removed mainly due to Success providing a better experience now, though it is a shame as it was the quickest method of making players. The main new addition is Passion Mode. Acting like a simple version of Icon 9 without the board, you play managing and developing a high school team. You're able to set practices per player and you will get new players as the years go on. Games unfortunately aren't played using in-game graphics but instead from the scoreboard. You can still issue commands if you wish, but the selection is very limited compared to Icon 9's normal variety. Players will gain experience from games, so combining that with practicing can lead to strong players as easily as Success Mode. Players could also connect with other players' PSPs to play against their teams, which added an extra experience not found in Icon 9 at the time. While simple, it's still fun, and is a lot more manageable due to the lack of options available. The game overall is a good step up from 3, due to the enhanced modes from the previous versions and its new additions. The last game for the year was Power Pro Pocket 12 for the DS in December. The 3D graphics were touched up a bit, but by this point the game had reached its full visual potential on the console. There were some extras that could only be used while playing on the DSi, Nintendo's updated version of the console that came out in November 2008. Using the handheld's built-in cameras, you could take photos to use as mini portraits for players at the cost of pocket points. Gameplay-wise, a beginner-friendly system for hitting was introduced. Rather than increasing lock-on to help move the PCI to the correct place, here there's no control at all. Instead, all you have to do is time your swing correctly to make contact. While you still have to judge if a pitch is a strike or a ball, it helps even the youngest of fans play the game. The main success this time is centered around cyber baseball and online games. Playing as an out-of-work character who lost his passion for baseball after not getting drafted, you get introduced to an online baseball game. However, there have been reports that the game is cursed and can pull people into the cyberspace world. After witnessing firsthand your roommate get sucked in, your aim is to find out what's going on, while avoiding being arrested for the disappearance of your friend. The scenario is quite odd, as you're not training up yourself, but your online baseball persona. You also need to work and gather clues to pay your rent while investigating to help find evidence to clear your name. It's quite a tough scenario that forces you at the beginning to focus on everything but practicing, otherwise you're game over. It only takes place across roughly 4 in-game months, so balancing all of these requirements can prove challenging. Due to the nature of the story, it was received with more mixed opinions. The story itself is interesting and can take quite a few different twists depending on the events and evidence, but the developing side was lacking, as you can only really get to do so in the latter half of the mode. The secret success is once again an RPG called Secret Society Edition. When a floating castle appears above the city and monsters start to appear, it's up to you to find out what's going on. Like the previous RPG Secret Success, battles are turn-based with maps now being in 3D. There's 2 chapters to complete again, and the mode can be played endlessly, so it offers a lot of replay value for those not interested in the main success scenario. And if neither of those interested players, the Guppy and Pennant modes are still here to take part in. While the main success mode has you essentially playing a game within a game, the gameplay still stands strong thanks to the refinements made to it. In the next part, we'll see the series move into the world of high definition, while also continuing to expand on handhelds and mobile devices. If you've enjoyed this video and series, then don't forget to leave a like and drop any comments or questions below. And that's it for this part. I hope you're enjoying whatever you're playing, and I'll catch you in the next one.